Welcome back, everyone, to the Complete Pineleaf. We're back here at Aragorn's Pavilion, where we are preparing to head out towards the Black Gate. Yet before that, I have a number of people I need to speak with, including, of course, Aragorn here.
We are to march shortly.
Pineleaf, we're to march shortly. It is true, as I have heard, that you are known to the Rangers of Ithilien. Will you search for any who might still hide amongst the ruins of Osgiliath? It is my hopes that they might help guide us through Ithilien and on to the Black Gates of Mordor. So I need to find the Rangers in Osgiliath. Oh, that's gonna be fun. Well, what else do I do while I'm doing that? How about Mithrandir here?
Our secrecy was born of necessity, but now it must end.
We have moved in secrecy ever since I came to know you, Pineleaf. It was a secrecy born of necessity, for we needed every advantage we might attain in our struggle against the Dark Lord. Whispered counsels gave rise to hidden errands and close-guarded conspiracies. But no longer. While Frodo continues his quest in the shadows, Aragorn strides into the light, and he must draw Sauron's gaze to him, and away from the real purpose, with every means at his disposal. Let the departure of Aragorn's army be a loud one, and snare the attention of the Dark Lord. Wars are fought with weapons, but this battle for Sauron's eye will be fought with noise and tumult, with musical instruments and those who wield them. Walk to the Pelennor and find men who wield trumpets or silver and brass. They will announce the coming of the king as loudly and as often as they can, and perhaps this loud departure will serve on the to shield for Frodo and Sam as they walk into the Black Lands. After you gather the four trumpeters, travel to the western gate of Osgiliath, and Aragorn's army will begin to march. We will see you at the eastern gate of the city after the army is on the march. So I need to first find some musical players, and I'm obviously going to have to talk with these other people pretty soon. Let's start with the musicians. Then, after we find them, we can worry about these other people. Oh, the first one's here in the camp. Kulung.
This trumpet belonged to my friend Araneth.
You seek trumpeters to proclaim the presence of Aragorn now that he has revealed his true claim? I am not as practiced as some others in Gondor, for I have only lately begun to learn the skill, but I would be honored to use my meager abilities to announce the arrival of my chief and lord. My friend Araneth bore this trumpet on his person when he was slain in Tor Morva. I picked it up to save it from the hands of the treacherous men, and thought I might teach myself its use as a means of remembering poor Araneth. I will use it to proclaim the coming of the King Elisar, and it will remind me of the friends that gave their lives so that this day might happen. So we are going to have trumpeters of all sorts of skill levels. Ah, is that the glint of a trumpet I see up ahead? And this must be the trumpeter.
I fought in the battle and saw more than my share of death.
I saw more than my share of death as the afternoon wore on towards evening. Sometime during the waning hours I lost both my sword and the trumpet I carried on my hip, and suffered a knock upon the head by a heavy club. When I came to again, my sword was gone. It must have been taken by a foe or a friend who thought I was slain. My trumpet lay by my feet, battered and bruised even as I was, but still whole. I have taken that as a sign, and now I will be a trumpeter and not a swordsman. I'll be honored to wind my horn to announce the coming of the King Elessar, Pineleaf. Let the sound strike fear into the hearts of our enemies, and give them such a fright that they will never again threaten Gondor. Well, all right, thank you. I'll take that as a yes. Next. Ah, another trumpeter. Let's see what his story is.
I will be pleased to sound my horn on behalf of the king.
I was inside the city when our friends from Rohan joined the battle, and my heart soared to see their charge. So inspired was I that I mounted a horse and followed the Prince of Dol Amroth and his knights through the gates and into the throng of battle. I was almost at hand to Theoden, king of Rohan, when the great beast ascended and spelled his doom. I saw then the most beautiful woman I had ever seen, or ever will see. She stood between her fallen lord and the dreadful foe, and slew that terrible creature in defense of her king. A great evil took me then, and I swooned. I think I dreamt, but I can't remember the details of it. When I awoke, I was in the houses of healing. Friends tell me that I was saved by the hands of a stranger, of curious visage and few words. I would find this man and give him my thanks, but he has left no sign. There are whispers that King Elessar may have worked his healing arts in the house, but who would believe such a thing? No king will trouble himself with my hurts, surely. In any case, I would be pleased to sound my horn on behalf of the king. All right. Well, Aragorn did heal several people that day after helping Faramir and Merry, and also Eowyn, of course. So that is three trumpeters. So let's get one more trumpeter so we can have a nice quartet. Ah, here's a trumpeter. Though that one doesn't seem to be of silver or brass.
To think I have lived to see a king once more in Gondor.
I have mastered many musical instruments, but I am most skilled and loudest with the trumpet. It will be my pleasure to sound mine at volume on behalf of the king. Oh, to think I have lived to see a king once more in Gondor. My heart leaps at the thought of it. You will have no problem getting me to start. Now, getting me to stop, well, that's another thing entirely. That's why he's out here alone. He was practicing so much. Oh well. Now, I suppose that means I need to go to Osgiliath. Ah, here we are. The entrance to Osgiliath. And wait a moment. Well, look who's arrived.
Oh, hello. I did not think that I would see you again so soon.
Ah, I had rather hoped my father will let us remain a while longer in Imloth Melui, but when he heard that the battle was over, he made us depart at once. The flowers of Imloth Melui are breathtaking and beautiful, and the roses are quite a sight as well. My father promised Lord Angbor that we would bring our stock of calamendral liquor to the houses of healing as soon as we were able, and we've done so, also satisfying our writ with the Gallingam. But now my father has that look in his eye once again, and he has made us come to Broken Osgiliath over the Anduin instead of heading back home. Oh, what's he up to now? Perhaps you could suggest that he and I return home? Or maybe, if that's too far, we could turn our wagon to the direction of Imloth Melee and make sure that the ladies of that place fare well in our absence. Oh boy. He had a lot of fun there, apparently.
I am proud to say my fortunes have changed for the better.
Yes, Pineleaf. Any good friend of Lord Angbor would be a friend of mine. But you were my friend first, I dare say. I have not forgotten our encounter at Tarlang's Neck. We met at a low ebb of my fortunes. Any man would admit that, but I am proud to say that those fortunes have changed for the better. And all because of my son. He has always made me proud, that one, and I defy any hobbit to doubt it, especially the hobbit who heard you say otherwise not too long ago. Well, anyway, we did need to leave Imloth Muley in rather a hurry. But that's no fault of mine, Nethodon. I did not like many of the glances the fair lasses of that place gave to my boy, and I deemed that should the battle have kept us there any longer, I might have lost my apprentice and gained a daughter-in-law. And that does not bring in the coins. No, we left at the first opportunity, and now another opportunity has presented itself. Do you know what that opportunity is? I will presume it's not an opportunity to find a daughter-in-law, then. That is right! Nails! Nails, Pineleaf! It just so happens that with tremendous foresight, my clever and enterprising son Nethodon has caused us to come into possession of 2 barrels full of nails, as I am sure that you remember. And do you know what is in great demand following a battle? Nails of the very sort we possess in such quantities, and which we can sell to the craftsmen repairing the city and the bridges at a better than usual rate. Just doing my part as a man of Gondor, my friend. And if it allows me to set up my own shop in competition with Gilligan, well, that's just the merest coincidence. There are still enemies hiding out in Osgiliath, however. If you were to defeat some of those foes, I would appreciate it. I'm sure you would. Well, what do you say? I wept to see Itherfair's last moments. I could not save him from the orcs. Well, let's see if I could find some Rangers of Osgiliath as I'm going through here. Apparently there's still some orcs around, but I'm sure they're not as numerous as they were before the battle. But of course, there are still some orcs lingering around in the Pelennor field, so I suppose there will be an orc or 3 around here also. Though, where they are, I don't know. And of course, I'm sure there is a ranger or 3 around somewhere also. Well, I hope there's a ranger or 3 around somewhere, because otherwise that would mean that they're all killed in the battle, and I'm sure Aragorn would be quite disappointed if that happens. Right? Hi there! Hi there, orcs! How'd you like a little sparring match? Yeah, just 3 of us, I guess. See, I even gave you a 2-to-1 advantage and you still squander it. Ah. Oh well. What is this? Beat this foe slayer of Osgiliath. No way am I finishing that. I had no trouble doing the stuff in Osgiliath when we were coming through here originally. You think I'm going to go and now do it all on the return trip? Okay, there you go. Whew. I have to remember, though, that they took away the cooldown that they used to have. Used to have a cooldown from the inner... Well, there's still a cooldown, of course, on Shield Slam. But they used to have a cooldown on the Gambits that also had interrupts on them. They were around for a while. I think they're removed in the last update that they had. And that could come in handy. Because very often one of the headaches I had is right after doing a kick, they start something else that requires another. And can I get a long enough gambit in order to not have been done within the cooldown period? Well, we'll see. I'm going to have enough trouble even now with how klutzy I can get sometimes. Hey, what do you say about that? Are you klutzy? I guess if you're an archer, you're probably not going to be. And that means I just have to kill one more orc. Oh, really? Ah, well then. I suppose. Oh, hold on. It says it's not kill orcs, it's kill foes. Do bats count as foes? Oh, that's a good question. I mean, it's not unusual for bats to be enemies in Lotros, so... Yep, that worked. Now, let's see. I need to go to the western entrance of Osgiliath, and I need to search for the Rangers of Osgiliath. Which one will I succeed in doing first? Ah! I have found someone. We have found some Gondorians here. Alright. Quite a camp. So some people were sent forward in order to establish a foothold, while Aragorn rested and started gathering the armies that must be gathered in order to set out for the march. What have we have here? Ah! Here we are. Oh, that's the quartermaster. That's for a completely different quest. That'll be for later. Ah, here we have Moblung, the captain of the Rangers of Ithilien. I think that's just a person we need to speak with.
The earth has reclaimed the deeds of men and orc, fair or foul.
Pineleaf, it's good to see you again. When last we spoke, Osgiliath was lost to the enemy, and war was at the doorsteps of Minas Tirith. We have watched the tides of battle turn from atop the Dome of Stars. We still slew coward orcs as they fled the battle, attempting to take the shelter in the ruins. But tell me, what word do you bring out of the White City? Why came here? Alright, well, Aragorn plans to march to the Black Gate, and he's be coming through Osgiliath. Ah, if this is the path that they will march, then there is much to be done here in Osgiliath first. But before we speak of these matters, talk to the other rangers here with me. Galathir, Mirthel, and Arador in particular. It has been too long, and they will surely be glad to speak with you again. So, Arador, Galathir, and Mirthel. Alright? I'm sure they are around here somewhere. How about before I go about talking to them, I reach the eastern end of Osgiliath here. You approach the east gate and you see that Mithrandir is astride of Shadowfax. Well, he has to be astride of Shadowfax because I saw him in Aragorn's encampment not too long ago. So while I was busy recruiting trumpeters, he must have come up here.
You have caused an impressive amount of noise.
You've caused an impressive amount of noise, Pineleaf, more than your size might indicate. The trumpeters will announce the arrival of King Elessar, and his army marches through Ithilien. None will miss these tidings. Sauron will not fail to heed this march, Pineleaf. The Prince of Dol Amroth has rightly pointed out that the size of this army is too small to pose a serious challenge to the host that lies within Mordor. But that is in itself will draw his gaze hither. He will think that Aragorn possesses the ring, and believes that it will bring him to the power he needs to overthrow Sauron. He will think this because that is the action he would take were their positions reversed. The army will march slowly, but it will march loudly, and that is the best gift that we can give Frodo right now. I hope, beyond hope, that this will be able to make use of this gift, and that it does not come too late for him. Well, we shall have to find out. While I stand here in Osgiliath, there's the question, is there anything I still need to do over at Aragorn's Pavilion? We have to find that out in the next episode of The Complete Pineleaf.